hearing from cardiologists and doctors and all, I being a biotechnologist and working on basically Himalayan medicinal plants. So for me, all I can add to Dr. Lindsay Brown's comment that yes, of course, food is one thing. The purple color foods are very good, but in addition to that, there are such hidden treasures in trans-Himalayan medicines. Like we have been working on one of the plants which is called a goji berry. It's a purple, blackish goji berry, and recently we have been working on the phytochemical aspect of it. Tremendous treasure lies in the food and the medicinal plants, and that must be included in the diet as functional food as well as proper medicine, breaking all the barriers of modern era. And so we have to open up, and all-inclusive strategy is going to work for all of us.
Yeah, well taken.
Excellent. Just one further comment. It's not only the food itself, but as we show that many of the things that are thrown away, the purple coloured rind of the purple mangosteens, for example, the spent coffee, can also be introduced into different foods. So it's not only the food, it's also the waste, the so-called waste products.
Yeah. Very nice.
In my experience as a clinician, what I have observed that when people take Turkish coffee, this is a very concentrated American espresso, they end up with us with palpitation, and in fact one or two patients after taking the Red Bull came out with atrial fibrillation. So high concentration is very stimulant and can end up with significant cardiovascular symptoms.
Quite right. And yeah, I'm a pharmacologist, and the things that pharmacologists will emphasize time and time again is dose, and dose. And that's what produces the effect. There's not a turn on and turn off effect. The more, within the dose response curve, you give more, you get a bigger response.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kapil.
I have a question, Dr. Mishra. So, you saw in the guideline directed medical therapy GDMT, there's now in the 222 guidelines they're showing all these 4 pillars. So what is your comment about the statin? Where do they fall? Because I'm pretty sure that most of these patients with heart failure also are having dyslipidemia. So, based on the adherence to therapy, these drugs, there's so many drugs that they take, and there can be compliance issues, adherence to medications, and that affects their long-term morbidity and mortality. So, and the newer medications which are coming, like recently the FDA approved the Evolve MI, study which is golimumab, it's a monoclonal antibody for inclisiran, where you can give these patients every 6 months, don't even need to give every day. So you just give it, and then for 6 months they're done, and every 4. So what's your take about these medications, where you can give less, and any new drugs that have come in this area, like the statins, and how statins fall into the regimen?
Yeah, so thank you. It's very important and very clinically practical question. So these patients with congestive cardiac failure will have some associated, whether they have atrial fibrillation or they have a coronary artery disease, a status post-PCI with 2 or 3 stents or bypass surgery. They may have a plethora of management. They have been on a statin, they will be on aspirin, they will be on Plavix, they will be on to reduce volume diuretics. So these group of patients, depending on their etiology, if their etiology of congestive cardiac failure is based on coronary or atherosclerotic coronary artery disease, they all will be either statin or PCSK9 or inclisiran. Now the decision of statin and how does of statin we decide by depending on their risk factor. The majority of them are risk factor group, high risk factor of group 4. LDL we target based on how risky they are, like somebody who has no disease. he has normal heart, he has no diabetes, no hypertension, except cholesterol is high. Then we target the LDL up to 3 and below 3 millimoles, which is equal to, I think, something 180 or something. So this is, so we will follow millimoles. So we target below 3. Now, same patient has a diabetes. Then his target level will change to 2.6. Now, same patient has coronary artery disease, diabetes is high risk group now. His level has gone to 1.8 LDL. Now, the patient has congestive cardiac failure and bypass surgery or PCI. The level gone down to as low as 1.4. Now, this level, if we are not able to achieve with simple statin, we switch to, first we optimize maximum dose of statin with ezetimibe combination, then we switch to PCSK9, which is available almost in every part of the world now. In Kisland, I have put maybe about 10 or 15 patients only, because it is a very expensive drug. Each injection costing here in terms of dirham is 12,000 dirham, which is something equal to, you can say, $4,000 each injection. The injection effectivity based on messenger RNA technique lasts for 6 months. So we give day 0, 3 months, and then every 6 months. And the effect has been shown to remarkable reduction, because the technique is almost same like we give COVID vaccine. It goes to the liver, works on the messenger RNA, and then doing this, it activates the PCSK9 through this LDL receptor goes high. Higher the LDL receptor, more clearance of your LDL cholesterol. So what ultimately we want, person should have a high LDL receptor, which can be achieved by many things, including exercise. Exercise, these things improves your cholesterol profile by improving your LDL receptors.
And one more question is just off the chart, it's not related to heart failure. What is your take on the coronary calcium score? It's becoming a very fancy thing these days, that have your coronary calcium scores done. And is it becoming a part of your like FD, your task force that the insurance will start covering this coronary calcium score, so that people are assured that what a near future.
Yes, so calcium scoring came about 10 years or 15 years back, came in the guideline, and they said you can stratify your patient's risk assessment based on calcium scoring. Now what happened, we categorize like this. Patient comes without symptoms or with symptoms. If he comes without symptoms, he says, I want a checkup and I'm now 45-year-old and my father or grandfather had a coronary artery disease. So we do routine blood test and see where does he stands based on his diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol profile. Now, after this, the next best important test is the stress test. Because what we see is there a blockage in the coronary artery or not? We can perform a stress test about 10 minutes on treadmill on Bruce protocol, and there is no ECG changes. That means he does not have a significant coronary artery block more than 70 to 75%. And he should not be touched. Then he should go, no angiogram, he should not go for coronaries, check up anything. Now where does lies the calcium scoring? Suppose we send this patient for the calcium scoring, and his calcium score comes to 100 Armstrong unit. Now the calcium score showing that he has a coronary artery disease, and I am saying you can go home, you do not have a problem. Obviously, after 45, 50, many of us sitting here will have a plaque in our coronaries. But does that plaque has any significance? Even we have a plaque, suppose 30%, 40%, 50%. We do not do any intervention to any plaque less than 75 blockage of the coronary artery. It is contraindicated by guideline. If somebody is doing for the money, and it is being ethically wrong to touch any plaque if it is not causing you symptoms or it is significant. Now the question comes, then we have a 40%, 30% plaque and we have a 70% plaque. What is the difference in the two? The difference lies in the rupture of the plaque. So plaque has two segments. One is the fibrous core and one inside is the lipid profile which contains cholesterol. This cholesterol converted in cholesterol esters, and this, if high in number and the fibrous core is thin, can pierce and rupture the plaque. The moment the plaque ruptures, this cholesterol leaks out and our platelets rush to seal it because they are programmed to seal any leaking, any bleeding in the body. Once they come and form the thrombus in the vessel, they forget to stop. And they, by default, close both vessel, and the thrombus sitting in the coronary artery is the heart attack. This is the heart attack genesis, where this patient rush to them, and the primary is to open the vessel by anyhow, whatever medication, with thrombolytics, with angiogram, angioplasty, open the vessel as early as possible, so the muscle should not get dead, because it's not getting any supply, it's not getting oxygen. It's every minute the cell is dying because they are not getting oxygen. So the concept is to open it fast. Now, how to make this plaque remain stable and we can have a good life, even plaque is there 60-70%. This has come by three very standard formula, which I always propagate. One is your healthy diet, less food, weight reduction, fasting. It will improve your strategy.
Dr. Shweta, you there? Ram, can you hear us? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oh yeah, okay, I can hear something now.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rao. Hey, so I think our next distinguished speaker is Dr. Shweta. Maybe Saxena, you want to say something about it?
No, please. Dr. Shweta Saxena. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good, thank you very much. She is from Leh and she has done a lot of work related to the plant there, and she is working in the Defense Institute of the High Altitude Research in DRDO, and she has done a wonderful work and research, and she would like to present. Please go ahead.
So very good afternoon to everybody. Am I audible?
Yes.
You are perfectly audible. Please
And are
continue.
you able to see my slides, sir?
Sure. Please continue.
Yeah, so very good afternoon to everybody over there, and greetings from a beautiful land of Ladakh this side. So before I start with the permission of chair, I would first of all say that it is personal privilege to be presenting in a session which is chaired by Dr. R.C. Saxena, and who has been a great inspiration for me on a personal level. And special thanks to my dear friend Dr. Mona Saxena for giving me this opportunity to be here with all of you this afternoon. Now, since this session has been, we have seen such eminent speakers on cardiovascular health, and although I am not going to be speaking directly over cardiovascular health, but my work certainly has a close connection with cardiovascular health and related ailments. So before I begin, I think Dr. Lindsay has already made my job easy by setting the tone for phyto-medicine and functional food. So here I go. As you can see on this slide, this is my institute at Defense Institute of High Altitude Research located in Ladakh. The left side is the summer view of our fields and the institute. This is the institute, these are our field areas, and this is the winter view of our institute. So as the topic goes, I'll be talking about Trans-Himalayan region of Ladakh. So let me first take you to Trans-Himalaya. This side, the Karakoram range, Ladakh range and Zanskar range of the Himalaya is called the Trans-Himalayan region, and the altitude can range somewhere from 10,000, 11,000 feet going up to 18,000 and little above that. So it is extremely harsh environment over there, conditions are tough, and so is the opportunity. So what exactly is Trans-Himalayan region of Ladakh? It's a land of snow-covered mountains, high mountain passes, and with extremely cold and arid climate. This Ladakh region has been divided into 5 different valleys, which is Leh, Nubra, Changtan, Zanskar and Suru valleys. So all the flora falls in the region of alpine and high alpine zone. My institute, which is DIHAR, as I told, it was established in 1962 after Indo-China War. It was mandated to make the Ladakh region relatively greener and self-sustainable, so that it can be, easy for the local population as well as the army, which is deputed over there to function there. The medicinal plant division, which I am working on, basically works with documentation of high altitude medicinal plants. It works with preclinical estimations of the phytochemical compounds and so on. We also work with conservation and preservation of high altitude medicinal plants. So talking about the cold desert, what exactly are the hallmarks of cold desert? There is extremely low atmospheric pressure, extremely cold conditions, very low humidity, high UV radiation is there, and high wind velocity. So basically, when we talk about biodiversity hotspot, these mountainous regions are biodiversity hotspots, and these environmental conditions are the reasons behind the region being a biodiversity hotspot. So as I told earlier, the region has been divided into 5 different valleys, and till date about more than 1,000 medicinal plants have been reported from these valleys, and more than 100 such plants are being used in the Tibetan system of medicine, which is called Amchi medicine system. This is a traditional Tibet medicine system which is being practiced in high mountain regions. So these medicinal plants obviously are known for signature phytochemical compounds. So briefly, I would just talk about very important plants which are found in the region. For example, the rhodiola imbricata. If we have been tracking the news recently, about a year back, our Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned about this rhodiola imbricata, which is called Shrolo in the local language, and this was named as Himalayan Sanjeevani. So now, why this plant is very, very important? It is because of very unique phytochemical compounds which are found in the plant. Rosin, rosavin, cellulocydes and all. Several publications, several research has already been done on this area. Similarly, Imula resinosa, which is pushkar mul or manu, which is a part of several Ayurvedic formulation, is having such good medicinal properties because of its signature phytochemical compounds, which are inulin and allantolectin, etc. So what are phytonutrients of phytochemicals? So basically, the phytochemicals is a term which refers to a variety of plant-derived compounds with therapeutic activities against several plethora of diseases like cancer, inflammation, oxidative stress, and so on, which we have been listening since ages. But sometimes these compounds are also referred as phytonutrients. However, unlike the traditional nutrients like protein, fat, vitamins and minerals, these phytonutrients compounds are not essential for life, so it would be probably more appropriate to call them phytonutrients. Why the phytonutrients are present in the plant? Basically, these plants which are surviving in harsh environmental conditions, they produce these secondary metabolites for their own protection against harsh environment. And when a human or an animal consumes these plants, which are loaded with such powerhouses of health, we get benefited. So broadly, from a phytochemical point of view, there are several classes of phytochemical compounds: terpenes, organosulfur compounds, phenol, lipids, and organic acid polysaccharides. So here I would like to focus on phenols, which are the largest class of compounds. I would say probably 80% of the chemicals, they fall in these category, and most of the plant-borne therapeutic properties, they basically are rendered because of the compounds falling in this class. So we can go on with phytochemistry, and it's a huge topic, so I will just quickly shift you to the plants which we have been working on. So this is a very interesting plant which since last 2-3 years we have been working. This is called Himalayan Snow Mountain Garlic. As you can see, it is it looks very different from the normal garlic which is there in our kitchen and we use every day. So what exactly is Himalayan Snow Mountain Garlic? Basically, this garlic is a wide variety of garlic which grows, most of the times it is wildly growing about 6,000 feet above the mean sea level, and it grows in the environment where the temperature dips down to sometimes -10 or even lower in the winters. It remains submerged in the ice covered, and it is mostly extracted from the wild area. And this has got very mild eleaceous flavor. It is nowhere like a normal garlic. It is very mild and one can have it raw also. And traditionally speaking, this plant is a very reputed plant in the armchair medicine system, where it is known to have anti-inflammatory, antioxidant and anti-arthritic kind of properties. However, when you look at the literature, there is no scientific validation of these kind of properties, and that's why these plants never come out of the traditional therapy systems. So what we started working on, so we took up this garlic and we started comparing it with the normal garlic which is being routinely used. We started with a very preliminary phytochemical estimation that what kind of compounds this garlic is showing. So broadly speaking, there were phytoconstituents falling in the compounds which normal garlic also possess. However, the concentration of specific glycosides, saponins and flavonoids, what we saw was very, very different in this particular garlic. So what we started working with phytochemical extraction using various solvent system. As we know that most of the naturally occurring chemical compounds, the phytochemical compounds, they have very different physicochemical properties. So they have range of polarity and range of physicochemical properties. So single method of extraction wouldn't work to extract all of them from a plant or biological source. So what we did was we did a polarity based extraction. Starting from a high polar solvent system going up to highly non-polar solvent system. So we did aqueous, hydromethanol, ethyl acetate, hexane and even butanol based extraction, and we tried to extract out whatever this Snow Mountain garlic was possessing. With all these extracts which we recovered, we did the total phenolic contents and total flavonoid content analysis and also the antioxidant profiling. To our surprise, I will just focus on here in the aqueous as well as ethyl acetate. Ethyl acetate is also a midpolar kind of a solvent system, and aqueous is highly polar. So the total flavonoid content of these two extracts showed that it was much better in Snow Mountain garlic compared to normal garlic. So and then we also did the HPTLC, which is a thin layer chromatography. Here you can clearly see this is a chromatogram of Snow Mountain garlic, and this one is a chromatogram of normal garlic. The kind of compounds both these garlic samples are showing, they look absolutely different. So we went ahead and we did a little more deeper, and since there was a lot of frothing coming in the Snow Mountain garlic, we thought let us check the saponin content. Was surprised the saponin, if not more than 2-fold, at least 2-fold higher we could get. In some of the samples it was going up to 3 to 4-fold higher total saponin content in Snow Mountain garlic. And specifically talking, these are broad classes of compounds. We have been seeing a lot of literature over specific garlic compounds with like allicin, S-L-cysteine and S-methylcysteine. These are very respected compounds of garlic which have been linked with most of the therapeutic properties of garlic. So what we did was what we did was we did a screening of these compounds and compared the content of these compounds in normal garlic with Snow Mountain garlic using very refined techniques, LCMS, MSMR screening we did. And at least 20-fold higher content of Ln we could find in Snow Mountain garlic. And similarly, the SLI cysteine and S-methyl cysteine levels were also pretty higher in this wild garlic variety. Now, I have just brought some of the representative data. We have digged in a lot of details about the volatile compounds, non-volatile compounds, and we could see good differences in these two garlic varieties. Now, going on to the bioprospecting side of it, that how these garlic varieties can be used for therapeutics and developing newer formulation, how actually it could be utilized. So garlic is known to have good antimicrobial property, and Candida is a very big menace for even in the clinics. So what we did was we took up 3 clinical isolates of Candida. We worked with Candida albicans, Candida tropicalis, and Candida glabrata. These to some extent, to a different varying extents, they were all multi-drug resistant strains of Candida. And here, what we did was we did inhibitory zone analysis using dose range analysis going from 50 milligram per ml going up to 250 milligram per ml of garlic extract, and we did a comparison at 24 and 48 hours of duration. So Snow Mountain, this work I am representing about the aqueous extract only. So this what we could see was a dose range increase in the zone of inhibition was observed in case of Snow Mountain garlic, whereas normal garlic also showed, but at much lower doses, like going from 0 to 100 mg per ml doses, the Snow Mountain garlic would show very bigger areas of inhibitions of fungistatic regions where the fungal growth was controlled. So the next step obviously was to calculate the minimum inhibitory concentration required to have fungistatic or fungicidal activities. So very interestingly, we could see that with these 3 clinical isolates of Candida albicans, glabrata, and tropicalis, we could see the Snow Mountain garlic at much lower dose was showing good inhibitory efficiency, and if we can just simply compare the MICs of Snow Mountain garlic and normal garlic in this table, you can see at 24 hours it was actually 2 times higher concentration was required for normal garlic for albicans, and in case of tropicalis 8 times higher normal garlic concentration was required to show the same potency as Snow Mountain garlic. So overall, it was very evident that this particular garlic was showing very good potency when it comes to Candida killing and Candida static activities. So the next thing what we took up was biofilm reduction efficacy, because it's very well known that Candida forms a biofilm, and it is very hard to bring the biofilm using modern classes of antifungals, and to our surprise that with Snow Mountain garlic we were able to have, in case of albicans and in case of tropicalis, we were able to have limit the number of viable cell counts in a biofilm, and also biofilm reduction efficiency was much higher in case of Snow Mountain garlic compared to normal garlic, and amphotericin B was used as a standard drug in this analysis. Now, since lot of compounds we could see which were different, which were unique, we did GCMS, which is a gas chromatography MS space analysis, in which volatile compounds we have checked. This is kind of just a profile what we observed, and the compounds in red color, they were the compounds which we found uniquely found in Snow Mountain garlic, and they were not to be seen in normal garlic. So what was the importance of these compounds? We were not very clear, since not much bioefficacy data was available on these compounds. So what we did was we simply did a docking study using these unique compounds of Snow Mountain garlic, that what kind of hits they were hitting when it comes to biofilm formation. Now, Candida, in case of Candida, in case of any fungal biofilm, there are certain number of genes or enzymes which are active to form the biofilm matrix. So, there is one very important enzyme which is required for building biofilm matrix, that is 1,3-beta-glucan. This is the enzyme of Candida. What we did, we tried to do a docking study with the compounds of snow mountain garlic and tried to see what kind of binding efficiencies were coming. To our surprise, there was one compound of snow mountain garlic which is cholesterol 4,6-diethylenol. This particular compound showed excellent binding affinity with 1,3-beta-glucan, and probably we could guess that probably this could have been one of the key compounds which is there in snow mountain garlic, leading to reduction in biofilm of Candida which we were observing. And in fact, this particular compound showed a binding affinity energy which was even better than a native ligand of this particular enzyme, which was very exciting. So next, some of the other aspects also we were checking for this wide variety of garlic, and we did since the GCMS analysis and LCMS analysis showed a good number of compounds which are there which have known anti-inflammatory effects. So we went ahead and we checked the dose range analysis of LPS challenge raw macrophages cell lines, and we could see that even with the dosage of 1000 microgram per ml, the kind of reduction in pro-inflammatory cytokines was huge, and this garlic showed excellent results compared to the normal garlic. So another study, which was another preclinical in vivo efficacy study, where we had used a CFA model of arthritis. In this also we tried to compare the efficiency of normal garlic versus snow mountain garlic, and these are some of the results which I have brought to be discussed here. Like for example, the CFA induced paw inflammation in a rat model as the rat model. Here, as you can see, so this is the baseline, the normal animal, and this one is the dexamethasone response for reduction of paw volume at the end of 28th day, and this one is the 500 milligram per kg body weight of snow mountain garlic, and this could reduce tremendously the paw volume of the CFA induced rats. And the same case was there overall, the arthritis index of 500 milligram per kg body weight of snow mountain garlic was showing very similar, was coming closer to dexamethasone treatment, whereas the normal garlic really lagged behind. The same is the case with the case of reduction in pro-inflammatory cytokines also. We did some of the histopathological studies also, and these are the gross macroscopic observation, where this is the snow mountain garlic 500 milligram, and this one is the CFA model. So there was a tremendous reduction in the inflammation. There was a tremendous reduction in the immune cell infiltration in the ankle joint, and also cartilage degeneration. So overall, if I can just sum up this particular finding, that there were a couple of key compounds which we could get, like saponins, SLI-cysteine, S-methylcysteine, and anine, which was significantly higher in snow mountain garlic, which is a folk variety of garlic, and there were the cholesterol 4,6-diethylenol, which was found in snow mountain garlic, which seems to be a very promising anti-candida candidate, which needs to be developed further on. In case of CFA-induced arthritis, also snow mountain garlic showed very good results with respect to edema and cartilage degeneration. So quickly, I think that this plan seems to be promising. We have been working with last 2 years only, and we have taken the leads from this plan, and we plan to develop a good formulation as well as the pure compound medicinal chemistry-based synthesis, and see the efficiency of this particular compound. So quickly, I would like to take you to another plant which we have been working. This is called Eruca sativa, which is erugula. And what we did with this plant was we tried to grow these plants at high altitude region as well as low altitude region, and did a comparative analysis. What happens when you grow a plant at high altitude and when you grow the same plant at low altitude or the plain area? What kind of phytochemical compositional differences one can see. So before I take you to this plant, let me take you to the reason why we work with this plant. Arugula is known to be a very good source of dietary nitrate. Now what happens when we take diets rich in nitrate content? So any kind of diet which is rich in nitrate, when we chew it in the mouth, there are oral bacteria which contain nitrate reductase enzymes. This dietary nitrate in the mouth gets converted or gets reduced to nitrite. This nitrate, when it is engulfed in the gut, there are microbes. In the gulf acidic pH, this nitrite gets converted to nitric oxide, and from there this nitric oxide gets it gets into the systemic circulation, and that's how the diet rich in dietary nitrate leads to increase in the nitric oxide content. And I need not go into the details of this particular slide. The effects of nitric oxide is very well established, how nitric oxide is important for cardiovascular health, and how nitric oxide is very important to reduce the platelet stickiness and the vascular vasodilation it takes care of, and so on. So now why dietary nitrate through plant sources? Basically, whenever we take nitrate sources which are devoid of antioxidants, what happens with these nitrates? They slowly gets converted to the carcinogenic nitrosamine. Now what happens when we take dietary nitrate sources which are enriched in antioxidants? So this kind of conversion of nitrites to nitrosamine is blocked by antioxidant. That's why these antioxidant compounds which are found enriched in the plant-based or even the medicinal plant-based diet or formulations which we did, that's how it becomes extremely important. So with this plant again, we did the similar kind of polarity-based extraction. We did TPC, TFC, which is total phenolic content, total flavonoid content, and a battery of antioxidant assays which we did with various extracts. We did the total antioxidant capacity of these extracts, and overall what we could clearly see that high altitude grown Eruca sativa, it showed significantly higher enrichment of potent bioactive phytocompounds that also corroborated with the higher antioxidant activity of these extracts. So even in case of GCMS based analysis, where we did extraction of analysis of polar extraction and analysis of not polar, these are volatile compounds, yeah. So the range of compounds which were found in a high altitude grown plants were much higher compared to what we were getting in the plains. So certainly growing these kind of plants at a higher altitude, raised altitude in different difficult environmental conditions leads to enrichment of these health promoting compounds. So now then we zoom down to specific compounds which have been reported from this particular plant: chlorogenic acid, caffeine, lutein, vanillin, and quercetin and camphorol. So when we compared specific compounds, Leh versus Chandigarh grown plants, then the quercetin and camphorol content were clearly at least 2-fold higher to 3-fold higher in the high altitude grown plants. So what we did, we tried again to dock all these compounds which we found against inflammatory targets, which we chose COX-2 and PDE4D, and very good results we got with quercetin. Quercetin was able to dock very well with PDE4D and COX-2 with very low binding energies. So these were some of the promising findings which we got, indicating that how these compounds are actually working when you're consuming these kind of diets, where exactly they are going and what exactly they are doing in the body when they're binding. So if I can just take you back to this particular slide where I was talking about the conversion of dietary nitrate into nitrites and the role of oral bacteria. So it was a very, it was a curiosity-driven experiment what we did. We wanted to see that what happens when somebody takes a diet which is rich in oral nitrate, in the nitrate content, dietary nitrate. What happens to the oral microbiome? What happens to the bacteria which are present in the mouth? So what we did a baseline sampling from the human volunteers before the supplementation of nitrate-rich diet to these subjects, healthy volunteers, and we also did an analysis post-supplementation for 14 days. Very interestingly, we found that the overall enrichment of bacteria was increased. The number of bacteria, the healthy, friendly bacteria which were growing in the mouth of these subjects, overall it was increased. And when it comes to nitrate-reducing bacteria, there were a couple of bacteria which started colonizing these oral cavities, and we got very efficient nitrate-reducing bacteria colonizing in the oral cavity post-supplementation of 14 days. And the salivary nitrate contents also started increasing stably, and the baseline data also was raised. So a volunteer who's being given a dietary nitrate diet every day, every morning, even before getting that particular day's dietary nitrate supplementation, his salivary nitrate content is raised, and post-supplementation, obviously the nitrate content was raised. The nitrate reducing bacterial colonization also improved. So we know that nitrate leads to improved systemic nitric oxide, has a lot of effect on cardiovascular health, muscular health, and general well-being. So this is kind of very important that these plants which are grown at high altitude, they have an enrichment of antioxidant compounds, they have an enrichment of health promoting compounds, and when such a diet is taken, the overall effect it has on the microbiome or which are the friendly bacteria growing in the cavities like oral cavity or the gut, it also improves. So here we could conclude that Eruca sativa grown at high altitude is better enriched in health promoting bioactive phytocompounds, and the consumption of these dietary nitrate, it promotes the enrichment of nitrate reducing microbiome. So it would be good because at high altitude, as we were talking in the earlier presentation, there are a lot of cardiovascular complications, especially a lot of, we know that this is a strategic border area for India, and army deputation is there, so a lot of deployment of army subjects is there, and so dietary nitrate rich diet becomes extremely important for these areas where there is a sojourn of tourists, travelers, as well as army subjects, and cardiovascular health is compromised there. So these kind of plants, these kind of inclusion of these kind of diets would be of immense help. Now I know I can see a lot of students sitting over there who are studying medicine. They must be wondering that why, in what way this is going to help us. She's talking about herbal medicine. So I thought, let me connect somewhere to how this particular work can be connected with the modern medicine. So briefly, just a couple of slides I would like to take up on phytopharmaceuticals, which is recently added new class of drugs in India. So we know that we are bound by Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940, in which the classes of drugs which were included were drugs, vaccine, blood and its related products, and traditional medicine. Now recently in year 2015, a new class of drug has been added, which is called phytopharmaceuticals. What exactly are phytopharmaceuticals? How they have defined the phytopharmaceuticals. As per CDSCO, the recent class has been defined as this can be included in the modern medicine, where a phytopharmaceutical drug includes purified and standard fractions, where minimum of 4 bioactive compounds or phytochemical compounds have been identified in the extract, and the extract has been normalized based on these phytochemical compounds, and these can be used for internal and external use of human beings and animals. So now, since we have been hearing about Ayush medicine, the Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani medicine, and how this phytopharmaceutical is different from the Ayush medicine. So basically our traditional system of medicine, which is Ayush medicine, it comes from our literature, authoritative books on Ayurveda, Siddha, etc. systems of medicines. So these formulations were coming from that traditional knowledge, whereas the phytopharmaceutical is kind of a part of a modern medicine, where the drugs are not the whole extract or something, they are basically the fractions of food extracts and are distinctly differentiated by being purified and standardized. So this particular new class of compounds or drugs, phytopharmaceutical, is being controlled by CDSCO, whereas the herbal medicines are controlled by Ministry of Ayush. Now, if you look at the Indian pharmacopoeia, which includes all the kind of drugs which have been introduced in Indian system of medicine, modern allopathic system of medicines, only 7 monographs have been recently built and included in Indian Pharmacopoeia 2022, whereas 169 monographs have been included on herbal drugs. Rest all they cover the modern medicine. So what I say is journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step, and those small steps have already been taken. So we are very hopeful that scientifically validated medicines from traditional knowledge system are making way into the modern medicine system. As you can see, in 1985 there were only 14 monographs which were included in the Indian Pharmacopoeia covering the herbal medicine, whereas when we are sitting in 2022, 176 monographs are there, which includes 7 recently introduced monographs on phytocompounds based phytopharmaceuticals. So with this, I would like to close my presentation. I would like to acknowledge my organization DRDO for funding this research, my collaborators, Dr. Suresh Korpole, who is our head NTCC, which is a microbial technology institution in Mohali, with whom we had done the antimicrobial studies. Professor Kamaljeet Kaur, who is heading the pharmaceuticals department in Punjab University, with whom we had done a lot of bioefficacy studies, including arthritis study and so on. And these are the 2 research scholars. She is Bhupinder Kaur and he is Mr. Nitish Kumar, who have done most of the wet lab work, and they are pursuing their PhD under my guidance. And with this, I would say Julay, and Julay is basically the word which we say in Ladakh. It's a kind of namaste what we see or say all over India. So that's a Julay salutation and greeting. Thank you all for your patient listening, and I am here to take any questions if anybody is interested.
Are there any questions? आपने तो कमाल कर दिया.
Excellent talk, Shweta. You have done a wonderful job.
Thank you, sir.
In the meantime, I got ready because I have to rush to catch my flight. So I packed my suitcase and some.
I hope you listen to me.
Yeah, I was listening to you.
Shweta, while
Yes.
I have gone somewhere, guys, the question
The voice is breaking. The voice is breaking. It's not very clear. Can you please say it again?
Okay, Shweta, the key question for pharmacologists is going to be the dose.
Yeah.
The arugula, which is called rocket in Australia, but how
Yes.
much arugula is necessary to daily dose?
See, arugula, I would recommend 100 to 125 grams of arugula based on the nitrate content of the arugula, because here I am focusing on per se the nitrate content of arugula. So, the RDA, the daily recommended dosage of nitrate would decide how much of arugula would be good for a human of say 60 kg body weight. So, I would say 100 to 125 grams would do.
So that's about 6 or 8 or 10 leaves.
I think what do you finish?
No, it's very lightweight, and it is about a 1 plate of salad.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I was telling that majority of the drugs whether they
I'm
are.
not able to hear.
Yeah, Dr. Singh, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Hello, can you?
Only with Zoom, participants are able to hear each other.
Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear us now?
But I think the interface between the Zoom and all that.
Can you hear us?
If they go to closer to the computer, I mean, I think the computer which they are using, that would be perfect for them, isn't it?
Yeah, actually. You should go closer to the computer.
Yeah. They should be
Shweta, can you
closer
hear
to the
us?
computer.
Okay, Harry, thank you for the invitation. I really enjoyed that tour. I think that's because it's now evening here, and I'm having a dinner with my daughters and my granddaughter.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll catch up later. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lindsay, for coming up and we remain connected. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Shweta, can you hear us? Now?
I think I also have to say bye to all of you guys
Hello.
because I have to rush the driver who is bugging me constantly now.
Okay, alright.
Hello,
Shweta, you get connected with us. IABS.in, if you can note down.
Can you please repeat?
IABS, Indian Academy of Biomedical Sciences. IABS.in.
Alright.
This is an academy which we established, which is now large all throughout the country, and it would be nice to have you there.
Thank you so much. So
We
again,
pleasure and would be lovely to take this vertical in our thematic. Our main objectives are to connect people, the clinicians and scientists to do
That's very
translational research.
yeah.
All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Because others can't hear you.
Yeah. Alright.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. Thanks.
Dr. DRDO. You see, she has talked many things which are of importance. For example, garlic, there are many varieties. And from garlic you can obtain the drugs like which are antifungal in nature, for example, for the candida. Use of the broad spectrum antibiotic produces the fungal infection. This is what is happening. And therefore we need to have other drugs also which can take the complications of the use of the broad spectrum antibiotic. So that way she talked well about that lesson, which the gut, and similarly the other drug. And I am very fortunate that Shweta Saxena is far away from here in Leh and Ladakh. But Honar Birman ke hot seekhne paat. So the parents are here, Dr. Ratan Kumar and I have requested Dr. DRDO Saab, the principal of this big institution, to kindly give them memento. And this is प्लीज का आप भी आइए, आप तो जननी है। Thank you very much for accepting this memento.
And they have already a gift of the order.
I am happy that the work which I started last about 25 years back on high altitude plants, there is a flag there. She is carrying a blessing.